하나, 둘, 셋. 안녕! Today I'm going to be breaking down Going 17, which is 17's own reality show, and 17 is a 13-member group under Pledis, which is now under Hive, and they're actually really talented idols and known to be really funny, and so their name is like 예능돌, which is saying like they're kind of like the comedians in the K-pop industry. So the episode we're going to break down is 광고천재 17 or Ad Genius, and the whole premise of this video is really just they're trying to come up with their own advertisements and like commercials, because in Korea it's really popular for a lot of famous celebrities and like K-pop groups to be the face of a certain brand. So they're trying to do it especially for this show, and they're just coming up with ideas and like just acting it out together. So the first one we're gonna go over is when S.H.I.E.L.D says 흔들리지 않는 편안함, and he's making fun of Joshua because he was trying to do like a car ad, but he didn't really know what to say, so he said like 흔들리지 않는, and S.H.I.E.L.D was like 설마 흔들리지 않는 편안함, and this is actually a line from a Simmons mattress ad that was like a lot of people referred to it because it was such a famous ad, and this is their signature line to advertise their mattresses. And 흔들리지 않는 편안함 means like so comfortable, like it's really stable and there's nothing that like moves around, so you can trust the mattress. And next is when Seungkwan is describing D8 as like, oh, like your style, you kind of look like a musician today, and the caption reads 디차르트, and this might be a bit confusing because it's not really a word that you can recognize, but in Korean, D8's name is spelled D8. So they took the first character of his name and took Mozart as like the musician, and then they combined it so it became Dizart, but in Korean you pronounce Mozart as Mozart, so they attached the D to the front and took out the mo, and it became Dizart to kind of say like D8 is like a musician. So for this next part, when Seungkwan chucks his water, the caption reads 물만큼은 삼다수로 산다. And this is a line from the 제주 삼다수 water commercial, and 삼다수 is special water that comes from Jeju-do, which is a Korean island, and 물만큼은 삼다수로 산다 is like an ad that they use a lot for their company, and Seungkwan is actually from Jeju-do, so this is the reason why he really wants to be in a Jeju-do 삼다수 commercial. So that's why he kind of throws the water away, because that one is probably from like a different brand, so he's trying to prove his loyalty to Jeju 삼다수. Just to go a bit deeper into the word 삼다수, so first 수 at the end of the word is water, and the front is 삼다, and 삼 is 3. So I think from like the past, it's already been known like Jeju-do is known for its wind and like kind of like the charcoal rocks and its pretty women. So these 3 things are like the significant kind of symbols of Jeju-do. So this is why like when they came up with the name for the water, they said 삼다수 because that's like water from Jeju-do, and 삼다 is like the 3, you immediately think of the 3 things that are really important to Jeju-do. So right after Seungkwan throws his water, the caption changes to 제주 화산송이로 충성도를 키움, and this is another line from an ad done by IU actually, but those lines are a little bit different. So here, 제주 화산송이 is volcanic clay that's found on Jeju-do, and Jeju 삼다수 is actually well known for being like very clean and pure water because it's been filtered through this volcanic clay. And 충성도 means like loyalty, because 충성 refers to the salute that you do in the military, and it's kind of saying like Seungkwan is very prideful of his Jeju-do heritage, and he's very loyal to this brand of water. And then we get to the members trying to figure out what PPL means. It's not really used in English, but Koreans use it to refer to like the ads or the sponsors within a show or like anything really. So PPL actually means product placement. It wasn't really addressed in this episode, but just a thing to know. So when Dino raises his hand to attempt to answer it, the caption above his head says 척척 박사, and this translates to like Mr. Know-it-all, but really, so first 척척 박사, it means like doctor, and 척척, it doesn't really have a good translation for it because it's referring to like someone who can get it, like someone who like absorbs knowledge very quickly, or they can answer anything really fast. So they say like 척하면 알아듣다, so it's like, oh, they'll recognize it immediately. So they're trying to say like this person's like a walking encyclopedia, he'll answer whatever. So they're saying like, oh, Dino, you know everything, like you can answer this like easily. So Dino's answer is professional position left and right, which it was obviously not the answer, but Left and Right is actually one of 17's songs, and the caption that appears after he says that is 꺼진 활동도 다시 보자. And this is just saying like, oh, let's not forget about our past songs and shows. But this is actually, the original phrase is 꺼진 불도 다시 보자. So this is a really important and famous phrase that's been used in Korea since 1946. And basically it translates to, let's double check to make sure that the fire is actually out, because there can always be like the small flames that can eventually become bigger. And this was a campaign to just prevent fires and make sure that everyone would be safe. And there was actually another phrase that was also used, which was 자나 깨나 불조심. So this is saying even if you're awake or when you're sleeping, let's all be careful of the fire. So even when you're awake, be aware of what you have on, like if your stove is on, and before you go to bed, make sure it's off, and like any candles have been lit off. So it's just to like be extra careful. Then when the staff is introducing the name for this episode, they say it's 광고천재 17, and Mingyu shortens it to 광천재. And above his head is a caption 별다줄, which is also a shortened word because he also shortened 광고천재 to 광천재. 별다줄 is actually 별걸 다 줄이네. And it's kind of funny because 별걸 다 줄이네 is trying to say like, God, you're like shortening everything you can. But even that is shortened, so it's kind of ironic. But it's become really popular for like younger students to abbreviate anything they can. So a lot of people have been making fun of them because they just sound so ridiculous, and they just say it so casually in conversations that it like people don't get how you're actually talking. So I guess like an example would be 인싸, 아싸. And these are actually English words because insa refers to insider and asa refers to outsider. But insa is like it's referred to when you're kind of like you're really popular and you're good with people, while asa is like you don't really follow with the trends a lot, you don't have that many friends, and like you're not really trendy or whatever. And another one I guess would be 혼코노. And this is 혼자 코인 노래방. So there's these coin karaokes. Karaokes are 노래방s in Korean. So in these karaokes or 노래방s, you just put in coins to like choose the time that you're gonna stay there, and you just sing. So 혼코노 is like a really common one. The equivalent in English would be like, well, there's one in Marvel that's used a lot for S.H.I.E.L.D, and it stands for...
What does S.H.I.E.L.D stand for, Agent Ward?
Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement, and Logistics Division.
And what does that mean to you?
It means someone really wanted our initials to spell out S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's a pretty good example. But another one that more people will be familiar with is like ASAP, so as soon as possible, or AKA, also known as. So the first product that they have to advertise is 농심 신라면 black, and 농심 is this big food company, and they have another really popular ramen which is 너구리 ramen, and 너구리 is a raccoon. So the image that they show is the raccoon saying like hi to the 신라면, and hi in Korean is just pronounced Ha-i. And so if we try to make sense of what they showed in the video, Ha was like shortened into Hyut, which is like the character, and I is also two in Korean. So they just put in the two as like an abbreviation, and you actually use this a lot while texting. And you can also say bye by saying, you can just use the 비읍 twice to get the ba, and then you also put the two there, so you get bye. Dino's idea for the advertisement is using the story of 한석봉, and this is a very famous and talented calligrapher from the 1500s. So to just give like a brief summary of the story, so he had to pass this government test by actually writing, and he came home one day because he wanted to see his mom, but his mom she sells 떡, so that's rice cake, and she was initially very angry that her son had returned because she was like, what are you doing? You're not studying for this test. So she came up with the idea to test his abilities in the dark with no candlelight. She told him, 나는 떡을 썰 테니 너는 글을 쓰거라. And this translates to, I will cut the rice cakes and you will write. So after a while, she lit a candle again, and her rice cakes were neatly cut because she was like so skilled in it. She could do it anywhere, like even with her eyes closed. But her son's handwriting, on the other hand, was a mess because he hadn't been like really intensely studying and like practicing. So his mom sent him back up to Seoul, where he had to work hard again, and now he's remembered as Korea's best calligrapher, and you can really find his work anywhere. So this video became longer than I expected, also because the Going 17 episode is 26 minutes, so I'll have to see you in part 2. 안녕! 하나, 둘, 셋!